Welcome to Outlaw Creations. You know, getting the perfect cut is probably the most important thing to me as far as the XTOOL laser. Now, my idea, the uses that I have for the laser is to cut out integral parts and have really smooth lines. And I've done some big gates, I've cut out trees and animals and different things. And what I found was the edge, so the edge of my cuts was, although you know, it works and it looks good. Matter of fact, here's one of the last bad ones, but it's not bad. And once you sandblast that and powder coat it, you won't even see those edges because they'll clean up. But what's happening is, you know, although that's all been great and it's done a pretty good job of, you know, cutting stuff out, and then I just have to do some post-processing. The idea of having the laser for me is so that I can cut things way better than a plasma cutter. And like this one actually is pretty nice. But I thought I'd do this quick video just to tell you what I found. So if you go online and you look at it, so if you go to the help part of the XTOOL support, it'll tell you make sure your lenses are clean, make sure your settings are right, make sure you get the right nozzle, make sure you have pure, like in my case I'm cutting steel so I'm using oxygen. You know, you go through all those parameters, and in my case I went through them and I would center, you know, I would go through all those things like quite often trying to figure out how come I'm not getting a really nice cut. And today I'm going to show you what I did to get the perfect cuts. Matter of fact, this was my last cut just recently. I haven't done anything. It has no burrs on the sides, and it's actually super smooth. You can't even feel anything. This is 2mm steel. Now, what I learned was, so at first I did a lot of different things. Some people would say turn up your oxygen. Some people would say make sure your lenses are clean. Turn down your oxygen. You know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on the internet. But I'm going to tell you what I found out, and maybe it'll help you, because I think no matter what thickness of steel, you really want to dial it in so it's just cutting perfectly. And right now, I just cut these out a few minutes ago. It actually cut these little slots out. This is something that I'm bending, but it cut those slots out, and they are just perfect. Nothing in there at all. But let's go to the computer. I'm going to show you what I did to get the perfect cut on 2mm steel. Let's go to the computer. Okay, here we are in XTOOL Studio, and we started a new project. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut a grinder station. My brother-in-law, he wants one of these grinder stations, so I improved this one a little bit. I did some eagles on the top up here, but this is a good example of how this thing's going to work. So let's go ahead, and so this is 2mm steel. Now let me show you the changes that I made. Now, like I said, I did a whole bunch of different things and I didn't have any success. And then what I did was I kept my pressure just a little bit above what they were asking for. So in this particular case, we're going to cut the fixture. So we go cut. Now we go here to material. Now this is where I made a change. Originally I was hitting 2mm number 45 carbon steel. You know, this is the one I chose. I switched it to this 2mm ASTM, and there is a difference. I looked it up, and there is a difference. So we're gonna leave it there. That was one of the changes I made. Now I'm still using oxygen. We'll verify that. Confirm. 1mm double layer nozzle with extension tube right there, confirm. So and then basically I calibrate the sensor just like normal, and it'll go over there and make sure everything's okay. And you can see the gas pressure is 11 psi, so it's just a little bit of, and there's 10. Now you can test that, and I did that a few times to see. We're gonna have to calibrate it one more time. And so basically, in my settings, when I first set up in my laser, it shows so your nozzle that you can remove, the cutting nozzle, so right here, I'm keeping all these settings the same. Now I tried changing these a few times. Now the only thing that I changed is the type of steel, and I came down here to process. Now you can see right here, the focus position, they're telling you -3. Now I'm already at a +2 on my particular laser, so I decided I'm gonna put this at -4 and see what happens. And the result was amazing. So in my case, because I'm a +2, up here where you do the set screw, you can go, a lot of guys, they tell them +1, +2. In my case, on my laser, it said to do it +2. So I came down here and I adjusted this to -4. So right now, when I process this, I'm actually at -4. And let's see what happens. I'm gonna cut this grinder station. I don't like to waste metal, and I gotta ship this out to my brother-in-law. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, calibration, calibrate. Please calibrate the sensor. Yep, it's asking me to do it again. It's kind of a dirty piece of metal. I don't know if maybe I'm gonna have trouble with it. We shall see in just a second. Hopefully we'll get some success right there. Oh, good, okay. All right, let's go over to I got a GoPro inside there, and you can see we're processing, but we changed this to -4. And let's go ahead and see what happens. Okay, what I realized right away when I started looking at this GoPro video of the laser was how dirty the metal is. And I think I should have done a better job cleaning off this metal. The other thing was I had the oxygen adjusted down to about 11 pounds of pressure, and it's calling for 8.7. And I don't think my oxygen regulator is producing a steady flow of oxygen. I think it fluctuates. So when you're first, sometimes I think it's getting irregular air pressure. And I've kind of seen that testing out the regulator a few times. But it actually did a very good job, and it's a big improvement over what I was doing before as far as the edge detail. And I'll show you some close-up shots of some of these pieces that I'm going to take off of here without even grinding them or anything. And you can see the pieces that drop out real quick. The inside edges are really nice and crisp. And I'll see if I can do some close-up pictures of those. But yeah, it still has room for improvement. I think the next thing I'm going to do is get some kind of regulator to regulate my oxygen better. Okay, so here's before when I had it on the 3 setting, and although it cut out a nice circle, the edge was really bad, like just not very good at all. Let's see if this thing will focus. And here's the edge with it on number 4. A lot cleaner, still has a little, it's hard to focus. Let's see. Yeah, here's the edge with number 4. Here's a little better picture of the edge. Definitely better than before. And that's no processing. This is just pulling it right off of there. So it's definitely an improvement. I think this was the best one, actually. Look at the edge right there. Now, I've done no grinding on this at all. And even these inside squares, this was a dirty piece of metal too. But you can see the squares are pretty little bit right there. But the edges are a lot better. So in conclusion, it is definitely an improvement. Like these edges are really nice compared to what they were before. Matter of fact, actually that one's really nice. But yeah, I think you just have to play around with the settings and the thicknesses of metal, the type of metal, and I've got room to improve. Actually, I realize that my oxygen, I need some better way to control the air, so that the pressure is more like, if I want 10 pounds consistent, I need to be able to get 10 pounds out of there. Because what happens is, when you watch it, let's say you got it adjusted at 11 pounds or whatever, and it's calling, like 2mm steel, it's calling for 8.7 psi, and I get it down to around 11 or 12, and I'm just curious, like, I've tested it a few times, and it fluctuates. Like, you'll be getting 12, and then you'll get 11, and then you'll get 13, and then you'll be back to it. So I think that inconsistency causes problems in, you start out cutting really, really nice, and then if you lose too much oxygen or you gain too much oxygen, it changes how that cut performs. It was a big improvement by setting the dial to number 4. That was huge. These were done on number 3. You can see how much slag I still have on the bottom of these. And this is this one is the number 4 dial, and I didn't do any post-processing, and everything fell off, and the insides of the squares are really nice. And even this one fell right out, and the edges are perfect. Now, that's not saying I don't have it dialed in perfectly, but I'm trying to say that the settings are critical, and you have to figure out the changes that you need to make. And I think on 2mm, in my case, I'm going to set it on number 4 instead of number 3, and I think my improvement's going to be in my oxygen. And then also keeping everything clean, maybe even having my metal a little cleaner. Like this one, yeah. My grinder station actually was pretty dirty. It did come out really good, and I just got to clean up some of the letters and stuff. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments how you have improved the settings in cutting steel. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Later.
There he goes, it's a working man. He's trying to make a living any way he can, and he'll break his back for $1 or $2. Oh, there ain't no shame in what he do. Oh, work it out.